Oh, this strip club anthem, nigga, what's up?
Young Money.
Yeah. Me and Mike will pull up the AOD back to back.
Okay, so I've already done my brows off camera. I did them with the Anastasia Dip Brow-Taupe, and then I went over top and locked them in place with the Anastasia Clear Setting Gel. So now we're gonna start on the eyes. I'm gonna go in with the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, and mine is in the shade Light Sand. So I'm just gonna take a little bit on the back of my hand, and I'm gonna go in with a little brush. So I'm gonna carve the brow underneath and sharpen it up, and then I'm just gonna drag the remaining product onto my lid. And this is gonna act as a base for all the shadows we're gonna use. Just like that. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side and just sharpen up that line. Okay. Just like that, and then I'm gonna grab a little bit extra of that just on my finger and pat that all over the lid. I'm gonna try to get it a little bit into my lash line. Just because there's a little glue in there still. Just a little bit. This is just gonna cancel out any of my redness. That way our eyeshadows are more vibrant. Okay. And then before that has a chance to crease or anything, I'm just gonna take this Real Techniques brush, and I'm dipping into the Modern Renaissance palette, and I'm just gonna go in with this first shade right here, and I'm just gonna slap this on top, just like that. Okay, so now I'm just gonna go in with the brush that it came with. And the first color I'm going to dip into is this one, Golden Ochre. And I'm just going to put this right into my crease. This is going to be my transition shade. Just like that. This is just going to give the rest of the shades something to blend into, so it doesn't have to be too perfect. You really just want to blow it out. Just like that. Okay. Just like that. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing with this one right here. This is Raw Sienna. I'm going to dip in and do the same thing, just a little bit lower. And I'm going to blend this onto the outer corner as well, just because I'm only going to do a partial cut crease today. And then whatever's left on the brush, I'm just going to kind of lay it on its side and blend that up towards the brow bone. Like that. Do the same thing to the other eye. Once that is all blended, you're going to do the exact same thing with the next shade, which is this one right next to them all, and that's Burnt Orange. We're going to keep this a little bit lower than we kept the other one, and focus it a little bit more onto that outer corner. And then once you have majority of whatever was on your brush to begin with, blend it in. Just slowly work it up to that brow bone and blend it. Just like that. Okay, so moving on, I'm gonna take a less dense brush, a little less fluffy, but a little bit less dense, and I'm gonna pick up this orange shade in the corner, and I'm gonna mix that with a little bit of the one next to it, which is Warm Taupe, in the same palette. And I'm just gonna focus this on the outer corner to begin with. So on the outer corner, bring it in to the center a little bit, and then again, whatever's left, I'm gonna pop it into the crease. And then blend it up a little bit. And to further blend that, just whatever is left on the original brush, I'm just gonna blend it out. Just like that. And then I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. Just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in and deepen it even more. I'm going to use the other side of the brush, so the brush that comes with this palette, and I'm going to go into the dark brown color all the way up here. Just a tiny, I'm starting off with the tiniest bit. What I'm going to do is move my head up just a tiny bit because I'm looking down, and I'm going to try to put this directly into that crease. And it's okay if it's a little harsh at first, like you can really see that line. We're going to blend it out. This is going to help emphasize the inner corner when we cut the crease. It's going to help emphasize that line. Really open up your eyes. So then I like to go in with another shade before I even do the other eye. I'm going to go back in with warm taupe and place that directly on top, and this is going to help blend it into those orange shades, peeking through the edges. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. A tiny bit of the dark brown color, and the exact same thing. Just like that. And now I'm going to add a little bit more to both outer corners. I'm going to go back in with warm taupe again, just right on that outer corner, and sort of blend those two together because we don't really need that harsh line on the outer corner. So just start to work those two in with each other, just like that. Okay, so now that I have that done, we're going to move on and start actually cutting the crease. I'm going to go in with this small Real Techniques brush, and I'm going to pick up more of Tarte Shape Tape in the same shade, and I'm just going to begin carving out the inner portion of my eye. So what I'm going to do is, again, look down and carve right underneath that inner portion. And once that line is pulled in about halfway, I'm just going to take whatever is left on the brush and fade it into our outer corner shades. I'm going to do that on the other side. You want to try to get this line as smooth as possible because this is your base for the shade we're about to put on top of it, and this is going to make all the difference in how sharp that comes out. So I'm just going to grab a little bit more of this and touch up the rest of this side, and then we'll move on to the actual shadow itself. So now that we have that done, we're going to go in with the actual shade, and the actual shade that we're using today is an eye gloss, and it is by Butter. This is London. They have really good nail polishes. They're super popular, and this is in the shade Frosted. So I'm going to pick this up on a smaller brush, and I'm going to put that directly over top where we just carved it out. Just going to go in with a little bit and start adding that. And then again, as I'm running out of that product, I'm just going to start patting it into the outer corner. Just like that, and we're going to do the exact same thing onto the other eye. Now that I have that on, I'm going to give it a second to dry. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to pick up a flat liner brush, and I'm going to pick up on that brush a little bit of the dark brown that we used in the beginning, and I'm just going to smudge that onto my lash line. I don't want to take away from the cut crease itself and go in with an actual liquid liner, just because I want that focus to be on the lashes and on the crease. So I'm just going to take just enough to give the lash glue something to blend into, so it's not as blunt, and I'm just going to take this and smudge it directly into the lash line. This is just going to give it a base, and it's also going to help if you have to fight your eyelash and one of the corners tries to catch you slipping. So on both sides, I'm just pressing this in. So now that I have that, I feel pretty confident in the blend between the actual shimmer and my outer portion, so I'm going to leave it at that. So right now I'm going to go off camera, put some lashes on, put some mascara on, and then I'll come back and we'll get started on the face. Okay, so now that we've got the lashes on, we have mascara as well. I went in with the IT Cosmetics SuperHero mascara, and now we're going to get started on the face. I already primed my face. I used the Benefit Professional. So for foundation, I'm going to go in with this Mary Kay TimeWise foundation. This is the matte one, and I'm in the shade Ivory 5. This is just a smidge too light for me right now, but we'll warm it up later. So don't drag me for a little pasty before the end of this. Then I'm going to grab a little bit more and just apply it where I need it the most. And then we'll take whatever's left and blend that into the outer portions. And I'm also going to use the tip of this just to sharpen up the eyeshadow as well. And I'm going to bring that down the neck. And then whatever's left, I'm going to hit the temples. And we're really going to go around the eyebrows. Make sure that we're getting all of that since we did the brows first. So now that we have that on, I'm going to go back in with my Shape Tape. Again, this is in the shade Light Sand, and I'm going to go underneath my eyes with that just a tiny bit. And then I'm going to hit any other little blemishes I have. So I have one right there and there. And with this, I'm going to blend it down the sides of my nose as well. This is really going to highlight that inner portion, and then I'm going to try to work it just a tiny bit into that inner corner because we haven't highlighted yet. And we want to try to eliminate any darkness we can in that area. Then I'm going to go back in one more time, put just a tiny bit on my chin and on my nose. Okay, just like that. So once you feel like you are done blending, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. I'm going to tap some of it into the lid, and by some I mean a lot. So I'm again going to take this, pat backwards against my under eye, then go in with the back end of my sponge and set it in that same motion as well. So I'm going to set backwards and really push it in. And then I'm going to take the rest of that product, work it up, and just let it melt in. Just like that. So the same thing, I'm going to take the tip of the sponge, pat out any creasing that has already begun. And then the same thing, we're going to start and work backwards. Just like that. I'm going to take it a little bit onto my chin and around my mouth, onto the nose, and then a little bit in the center because we're not going to set the whole face with this powder. We're going to go in with a different powder to set the rest of the face just because this one is completely translucent. It's not actually adding any coverage. You can never go wrong with a little extra coverage. So I'm going to take this Real Techniques brush and I'm going to go in with, this is an IT Cosmetics powder. This is the Celebration Foundation in light medium. And I'm just going to pack this on to like anywhere that we didn't set with that translucent powder. So I'm packing it on to all the outer portions of my face. I'm going to use this to blend down my neck to make sure that everything is flowing. So around the brows, around the temples, we're setting. And I'm even going to go over my forehead a little bit just because I do have a little bit of a problematic area there. And I'm really going to powder these sides of my nose as well. And then a little bit more down the neck. Really blend everything together. And you can even hit the ears. I'm not going to have my hair back, but no shame. Okay, so next I'm going to bronze my face before I contour, and I'm going to go in with the Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula. I'm just going to take this on a bigger fluffy brush and hit roughly the areas that we're going to end up contouring. This is just going to really warm the face up and give you natural glow. By natural, I mean not at all because it's about to be winter. Really on that jawline and down the neck. So once you have that, I'm going to actually go in and contour. And I'm going to use this IT Cosmetics powder, highlight, contour, and blush trio. And I'm going to go in with this shade. And I'm going to place this directly into my cheekbones. This is really going to carve them out. Directly in the hollows of my cheeks, I'm really going to enhance that. And I'm going to blend it up. Just like that. We're going to do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to hit underneath the lip. This is going to give the appearance of a fuller lip, which is something I don't have. And I'm also going to bring a little bit of this onto the jawline and down the neck. So once you are content with the way that looks, I'm just going to take that bronzer brush and kind of blend everything out even more. I'm going to add where I feel I need it. I'm just going to pick up a little bit more and kind of blend this, soften it a little bit. So now we're going to go in with highlighter. I'm going to be using this Tarte highlighter. This is the Exposed Highlights in Amazonian Clay. And I'm going to pick up this Sonia Kashuk fan brush, and I'm going to spritz it with the Hangover 3-in-1 spray. I'm going to give her a spray, and then we're going to dip into that highlight. And by dip in, I mean we're going to really go in. And we are going. She's going to put in some work. Just like that. Whatever's left on my brush before I go in to do the other side, I'm going to hit right above my brow bone. Just like that. Then I'm going to do the same thing again. We're going to give it a spray and dip right back in. We're going to do the other side. This side is always the ugly stepsister. It never looks quite as good. Back and forth until they look even. And we're going to hit again above the brow. Then I'm going to go back in just a tad more. We're going to hit the Cupid's bow. Just like that. I'm going to go in with a small brush again, and I'm going to dip into a single shadow. This is an Urban Decay shadow. This is in Polyester Bride. And I'm going to pop this right on the inner corners and right underneath the brow. This is going to bring some life to that. Just like that. Just a little extra kick. And really open them up. And I'm also going to take a tiny bit just under that brow bone. So lastly, we're going to smoke out the bottom lash line. I'm going to go back into the palette, and I'm going to pick up Burnt Orange. And I'm really just going to smudge this underneath. Really going to blow it out. Same thing on this side. Just like that. And then I'm going to go in with the tiniest bit of that deeper orange shade in the corner and do the exact same thing. Just like that. And then to top it off, I'm going to go back in with the mascara that I used and just plop some of this onto the lower lash line. Doesn't have to be perfect. So for the lips, I'm going in first with this MAC lip liner. This is in Nice and Spicy, and I'm just going to line my lips. And then once we have that on, I'm going to go over top with a little bit of an actual lipstick, and this is in Blankety Amplified. One of my favorite nudes. Just like that, and then I'm going to go up along the edges with just a concealer brush and a little bit of concealer, and I'm going to make sure that all of the edges are clean. I'm not taking much product at all, and then I'm just going to go back in and touch up the rest with the lip liner. Just like that. And now Chris is going to cut because we have to do an outro. This is the final look, and I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Crushed it.